Yeah, I've contacted most of them, not all of them, because it's quite difficult sometimes to contact all of them. The problem is that it's not only yesterday, and it's not only the day before, today as well. Another civilian neighborhood was hit, and I don't know the number of people that were killed there. So it's always difficult.
Has the ceasefire ever really existed in Aleppo?
I think it's difficult to say in general, but in some areas, the number of people who were killed on daily basis was reduced significantly. So it had an impact on some areas, while it didn't have any impact on other areas.
It's clear that the Russian intervention here has been decisive. It's been reported that President Putin said that he was pulling his planes out of Syria back in March. Is that your understanding on the ground? I mean, it's not clear who actually struck, which country this jet belonged to.
Exactly. The thing is that people are still not sure whether the hospital or the civil defense center that was hit 3 days ago in my town was struck by Assad airplanes or the Russian ones. My understanding is that the withdrawal announcement is just another way or another title for a different strategy they're having in Syria. Reuters reported that the Russians have sent to Syria more weapons than they have pulled out of it. So it's clearly not a withdrawal that we expected.
The regime and Russia considers hospitals in rebel-held areas to be a legitimate target. When you were back in Aleppo last year, with your family still there now, where do they go when they need to be treated for something not even affected with this awful civil war?
Well, as you said, like Amnesty, Human Rights Watch, and many other organizations reported that civilian facilities, whether hospitals, schools, or even bakeries and markets, have been systematically targeted. And the problem is here that exactly when you are hurt, where to go? If you know that those areas or those centers are not safe, do you just continue to be in pain in your home, or you risk your life in order to go and seek help?
Where is the front line now in Aleppo, or is that constantly shifting since the Russian involvement?
I think the main problem now is that there is no front lines, because the attacks, especially airstrike attacks, are mostly taking place in civilian areas in which there is no clashes. And this is why there is no place safe for people inside Syria, and this is why people are trying to look for safe places outside of Syria. Whether you are in a civilian place or on the front lines, it's still not safe.
And where your family are, is it clear which rebel groups are holding which territory, or is it still this kaleidoscope of different groups?
Well, it depends on the area, but most of them you have different groups who are operating from the areas.
Okay, and when agencies warn of a humanitarian disaster, I mean, is that getting worse as we speak, or has it been dire for the last year or two anyway?
I think that also depends on the area. Some areas, they have been really in a bad situation for years now, especially when we talk about Daraya, we talk about Mu'addamiyya, and these are areas in rural Damascus. Well, in other areas, it's a bit different. It's better in a way, but these situations keep changing. So what's good now could be worse tomorrow.
So, some aid agencies are calling on governments to arrange food drops if they can, which would be extremely difficult, obviously, given who controls the skies there at the moment. But I mean, for your family, for example, shopping, heating, lighting, how are they coping? Water?
I think that's the less of their concern right now, because even if they have food and water home, they're still not safe. And the problem here is that we know who controls the Syrian skies. It's the Assad regime who controls the sky. And out of, I think, 18 besieged areas, only one area is receiving airdrop assistance, while the rest are not. And if this is not a possibility, then why land services are not provided, services not provided via land? It's clear that Assad regime is responsible for besieging and withholding assistance to be delivered from being delivered to those areas.